What's going on, guys? Jerry Neutron here, back with a brand new video. Today on the review table we have a new mouse from TT eSports. This is the Level 10M Advanced. They've taken the original Level 10M, redesigned a few things to improve the mouse, and here we have the advanced version. So let's see what it has to offer. Aesthetically, I'm a fan of this mouse. I typically prefer a more minimal design with my PC components, but for some reason when it comes to mice, I've always enjoyed that sort of robotic look. And this isn't exactly that, it's more of a militarized design, but I definitely still like it. In regards to the shape, you can see it has an ambidextrous design at its core, but with a base plate on the left and a finger rest on the right side, making this mouse more suitable for palm grip. You can even adjust the height of the rear up to 5mm to fine tune exactly where your palm rests on the mouse. I found even at the lowest level, the rear end sits a little high for my taste, but I'm personally more of a claw grip user, so the setup in general isn't fine-tuned to my preference. I attempted to use palm grip with this mouse, but it was just weird. I don't know, I had no idea what I was doing. For actual palm grip users though, I think this shape is just fine. Weight-wise, this mouse is coming in at 130 grams, which is a little on the heavy side, so if you're someone looking for a small, lightweight mouse, this one is not for you, but it still does move well despite its size. Regardless, I'd like to see them get the weight down to around 100 grams, just to be competitive and more appealing to serious gamers. Now let's talk about the buttons. The left and right click use arm-on switches, which give you a nice tactile feedback. The scroll wheel gives you a nice stepped movement, although it's too thin for my taste, and I'm not sure why they've made it so small. The side buttons, at least A and B, can benefit from being higher up and rectangular, as that would make them easier to reach when your palm is resting on the mouse. The last button with its lightning bolt is fine where it is, as that just allows you to control your DPI and profiles. It's actually a directional button. Press it down to switch between profiles and push it to the left or right to switch between sensitivities. You can even push it up or down, although by default, that's not mapped to any function. Now let's move on to the software. Here's where you can remap button assignments. Each button can be assigned a single key or macro or even a keyboard function. The performance tab allows you to select up to 4 DPI levels. As you can see, they've updated the sensor to allow up to a maximum of 16,000 DPI, which is completely pointless, but it's there. You also have adjustable polling rate, button response time, and liftoff distance. By default, the liftoff distance is pretty low, so I didn't feel the need to make any changes to it. You can fit maybe a CD underneath the mouse before it stops tracking, so that's pretty good for low sensitivity gamers that lift their mouse a lot. Under the lighting tab, you have various lighting controls. Since this mouse has RGB lighting, the software allows you to select any colors within that 0 to 255 range. And since there are 3 zones on the mouse, you can configure each zone separately. Here you can see I've made 2 of these zones a static blue, and on the left mouse button, I've chosen a pulsating white option. So I like it. I think it gives the mouse a pretty cool look. There's even a battle mode which will change the lighting effects depending on how frequently you press a button. And of course all of this can be saved in multiple profiles, up to 5 total. Now let's talk about the one thing that's going to matter to most competitive gamers, the sensor. It's using an Avago 9800 laser sensor, which seems to be the go-to choice for any mouse not actually running an optical sensor. It's used so often that I'm starting to think OEMs have some type of Avago 9800 Omron switch package where you just choose your own shell. I went through a couple tests in Paint, just drawing straight lines, circles, to see if there were any issues with prediction or things like that, and it seemed to track well and pick up on any subtle hand movements. I also tested for acceleration, and I did notice a small amount of positive but mostly negative acceleration, at least in my case. I will admit though that I'm not too crazy about some of these sensor tests, as they rely greatly on user input, so I feel like there's a lot of room to screw up the test and misinterpret the results. Still though, I think there was enough evidence to show the sensor exhibited some acceleration, but I honestly don't think the average person will notice without explicitly testing for it. Chances are your aim is probably off enough that a couple of degrees to the left or right isn't going to negatively affect your experience. With that said, I feel a lot better about my mouse choice, knowing that the only thing making my aim suck is me. And if I'm buying a flagship mouse, I want the best sensor available, and that is not the Avago 9800. I do like this mouse as a whole, but it needs 2 things to make it become great. One thing is a diet. Like I said, get it down to around 100 grams and a better optical sensor like the 3310, which I use in my daily driver. So that's about it, guys. Those are my thoughts on the new Level 10M Advanced. I'm curious, do you guys consider TT eSports when looking for mice or keyboards or things like that? Just leave a simple yes or no down in the comments depending on your answer. Anyway, like this video if you found it helpful or entertaining, subscribe if you haven't already, and until next time, see ya. What's going on, guys? Jerry Neutron here, back with a brand new video. And it seems like these days pretty much every company is getting into the peripheral market, and as of late